Hi, my name is Andy Crestadina. I'm from Orbit Media Studios, and I'm excited to be here today. I love teaching SEO. I've done search optimization and analytics for around 20 years, and I've done content marketing and blogging and influencer marketing for around 14 years. And I want to show you now what is, in my world, of all the things that I've tried, the thing that is most likely to get results. This is literally the most reliable win for SEO. Let's jump right in. Okay. It's always true that there's a small percentage of URLs in any domain that get most of the traction, that get most of the love, that get most of the rankings, most of the clicks, most of the search traffic. So if you think about the aggregate amount of traffic on your entire site, it's really just the total of all the traffic to every URL. So to increase top line traffic and brand awareness and visibility, we want to make more of these. That's the question. How can we make more of these? Pages that might get that spike from email and social, but then that long tail of traffic, the 20, 50, 100 visits a day from traffic from search. You have some of these, you probably have some of these on your website. I want you to make more of these. Here's how we're going to do it. First, we're going to find the pages that are most likely to benefit from an improvement, the low-hanging fruit, the striking distance key phrases. Now, I'm going to do this using just analytics and Google Search Console, because if you go to the Acquisition Search Console Queries report, which should be available as long as you've correctly connected Google Search Console to Google Analytics, then you can see every phrase that your website ranks for and the average position, which is sort of like how high you rank for that phrase. It's at least the average over the time period. It's not, of course, your exact rankings. So if you take this same report and then add an advanced filter, click on the little advanced link there, you can filter this report to find just the phrases for which the average position is greater than 10. The average position is greater than 10. How high do you rank? Well, you rank at the top of page 2, right? Or, you don't rank on page 1. The old joke, where's the best place to hide a dead body? Page 2 of Google. These are the pages that would benefit the most. These are the phrases that are on the edge of great visibility. These are the URLs where if they ranked a little bit higher, they'd get twice the visibility or 5 times the visibility because they're right below that tipping point threshold, page 2 to page 1, right? That moment right there. So when you get this report, you're looking at it, only took a few clicks, you're looking at it now, sort by average position, and you can find all the phrases for which you almost rank high. Another tip for finding the pages that would benefit the most, the URLs that need the love the most, is the pages with declining search traffic. This often shows up if you're just looking at a URL and you can see when the traffic begins to drop. Tiny bit of analysis will show you if that drop was from organic. We'll show you if the drop was a drop in click-through rate or a drop in actual rankings. If you map together, I think you rarely see these, that's a ranking report, right, showing you the highest ranking position for this URL over time. And it's the traffic report. You can see in a lot of cases there is a correlation between okay, our rankings have gone down, our traffic is going down, but it may yet be a very credible URL, right? Put it into Google Search Console or Ahrefs or any tool that shows you the backlink profile. Look, 60 websites have linked to that page. It's got the authority, it just needs the relevance. New content has come out over time. It's no longer the best page on the internet for its topic. So how can we improve that page? That's the trick, right? That's going to be the most reliable win, is to update the pages that need it the most. So when I see a page like this, it's got good page authority, lots of linking root domains. But the traffic, the ranking is going down. This is Moz showing me that the ranking is going down. I say, okay, this is a page this is a falling star. This is a page that needs the love. This is a page that I'm going to go update and improve. Okay. Another report in analytics that makes this very obvious is the Behavior Site Content Landing Pages report. Choose the recent date range compared to the previous period and add a segment to show that it's just to look at just organic traffic. I know there's a lot going on in this screenshot, but it's pretty much everything. It's showing you which of your landing pages have declining traffic from organic, right? This is going to put your finger right on it. Scroll down and you'll be able to see, right? Some of these have need more love than others, right? Some of these have bigger opportunities than others. Next, I like to go and just basically confirm the rankings just to look. It's never going to be exactly the same as you saw it in that report, but still just to get an idea. Here's a page. A phrase that I found, best traffic sources for a blog. There it is. It ranks at the top of page 2. This is a page that would benefit the most from a content improvement, right? This is how I'm going to win. So before I jump in and start making lots of changes to this page, I want to first confirm that is the best key phrase to target. It's totally possible to accidentally move off of a high-performing key phrase, because you saw this show up in one of those reports we just looked at. It's for safety, we should go check to see all the phrases for which this page ranks to make sure we're not de-optimizing it for something else that's working even better. Similar, go to the Acquisition Search Console Landing Pages report, click to drill down, it will show you a list of all the phrases for which that page ranks. Similar to the report that you'd get from Moz or SEMrush or Ahrefs or whichever tool you like to use. But I just want to know that I'm actually going to target a phrase. I'm not going to de-optimize it for a phrase that it's getting even more benefit from, right? Because in the end, there still needs to be kind of a target key phrase, right? It's got a primary and secondary key phrase. Something has to appear in the title and in the header text. So but the same report, I could use just this to see all the phrases for which just that one URL ranks high on page 2. Best traffic sources for blog. There's that phrase, that example where I was confirming the ranking in a second ago. Now, is this page really great on this topic? Is it a relevant page on this topic? I call this the Control F test. Just find. It's like a tool in Microsoft Word or in your browser, whatever you're using, right? Just find, right? So when you do the Control F test, you're just going to go to the page and double check to see if it uses that phrase, best traffic sources for blog. And it's going to show you if that phrase appears on the page and how many times. This is like my pink 1 second time way to do this. I'm going to see if the phrase is in the header or the body text, but it also shows some false positives. If the phrase appears in the links on this page, I'm going to kind of ignore those, because link text doesn't indicate the relevance of this page. Link text indicates the relevance of the page that the link points at, right? It's like, so mostly this is showing me key phrases in the header and in the body text. It's not showing me titles and meta descriptions, which would be good. It is showing me link text, which is doesn't really help. But it often shows very quickly, and I do this a lot, just the page doesn't have that phrase. There's definitely an opportunity. Best traffic sources for blog. Best traffic sources, the page doesn't even cover that subtopic. I definitely have an opportunity. By the way, this entire process, I've only been, in this example, all this analysis, 5 minutes maybe? Like, you can do this anytime until you've eaten all the low-hanging fruit. You run out of opportunities. So yeah, I can go back and confirm the rankings for that. There's a key phrase that was recommended to me by Search Console. That's the current rankings for that. I do this for friends sometimes. I do this at bars. I do this at conferences, in the hallways. Someone wants me to help, no problem. Oh, you almost rank high for CRM tips. Let's double check. Yep, that page is not ranking high. It's at the top of page 2 in Google. Let's go to the page, Control F. Oops, the page doesn't mention CRM tips. The word tips does appear there, but just 3 times. Once in the header, twice in those links. In other words, the key phrase frequency of the word tips in the body text is 0. Definitely an opportunity, right? So now I want to go make this a better page. That's the framework here. This isn't regular keyword research because I let the tool tell me what target key phrase to use. And now I'm going to go incorporate that phrase into the page. But it's insufficient to just target the key phrase, right? If you've been doing SEO here for very long at all, you realize it's not really about targeting a key phrase anymore. We want to target the topic, not just the key phrase. So to do that, I need to find all the semantically related phrases and incorporate them into my content. That's our next job here in this framework. Step 3, go find all the semantically related phrases. This is like semantic SEO, right? We're going to target the topic, not just the phrase. We're going to find all the synonyms, all the related grammatical forms, all the subtopics, all the adjacent terms. We're going to find all the related questions. You can find these in Google in seconds just by typing in this example, CRM database. Boom! There's a big list of all kinds of phrases. I'm going to maybe go put these on a list of things to include in my article, right? Incorporate into my article. If you don't want to type the next letter of the alphabet 26 times to see everything that it recommends, you can go to keywordtool.io and it will scrape all of them out of Google in one fell swoop. Now you've got them. 162 phrases it recommended. Very useful. I can incorporate these into my article. So I'm going to go put these on my list as well. What else? It keeps getting easier, guys. Just go search for the phrase and look at the people also ask questions, right? PAA box. Expand, collapse. Expand, collapse. It's going to keep giving you more and more questions. I think Brittany Muller once actually counted them. I think it maxes out at like 300. Wow. Was there ever an easier time to be a search-driven content marketer? Google's telling you what people want about this, right? You can actually see it. And it'll give you lots of ideas for how to upgrade the content, how to improve it, how to work in all the related things, how to really make it a better page. Similarly, scroll down to the bottom, related searches. There they are. You can see these are things that Google would also suggest that maybe should be worked into the article. You can see tips, the word successful, how to manage, how to implement. Maybe do some of those searches, look for the people also ask box there as well. Questions are also important. Part of the usefulness of the internet is that it answers questions. If you want to find the questions that people ask related to anything, now of course you can easily do that using tools like Answer the Public. Answer the Public is going to show you all the questions that it can scrape from all the sources on any topic. There's lots of tools that do this. I think SEMrush does this, BuzzSumo does this. This is a free tool. I'm trying to use free tools when I can. Maybe more useful to you. But if you see, like, I can just see things that maybe weren't mentioned in that article. CRM techniques, what are CRM tools used for, how CRM helps customer retention. Wow, this could, even if I have no expertise on the topic, I'm not a CRM tool expert at all, but within minutes, I have a good sense for what the best thing, how to make this a better page on that topic, right? What else to incorporate? Now, let's go make it a better page. Improve the page in every way that I can think of. Here's a list of things that you can do to make a page a better page. Add depth, add detail, and add answers. Add formatting to make it more scannable, subheads and bullets. Add examples. Add contributor quotes, right? I never write an article without adding contributor quotes. Why would I? Add research, add data, add statistics, add images, especially charts and diagrams. Embedded video will automatically make it a more engaging page, right? That can help user interaction signals, which is another search ranking factor. Add internal links, guide people deeper, right? Reduce bounce rate. And of course, yes, as you do this, you're inevitably going to be adding the keywords for all those related things. That's partly why it's going to be a better article. You didn't just fluff it up. You added detail and depth, and the keywords naturally flowed in as you went because they were all sort of from this list that you just grabbed. And your goal in the end, and I sincerely believe this, and I'd encourage all of you to hold yourself to a high standard. This should be what the SEOs are embracing as their ethic, their virtue, right? To make the best page on the internet. I'm not trying to be trite or cute about that. I'm sincere. If you're serious about SEO, you are serious about making the best page on the internet for your topic. That's not an exaggeration. If you make the best page on the internet, and there's 2,000 math PhDs at Google trying to help you. If you make a crappy page and try to get Google to rank it, there's 2,000 math PhDs at Google trying to stop you. I know not all the math PhDs at Google are on the search team, but bottom line, align yourself with Google by creating quality and helping Google help people find that piece of content. That's how I think about search. That's my standard, and I really try to take it to that level. Here's some examples. So I wrote this article years ago. I wasn't really as much of as knowledgeable on it. 6 web design tips based on brain science. The idea was to kind of like correlate different UX elements with cognitive biases, and it was fun. But it didn't really do that well, and I realized later that it could be a better article. So I found some more related words, tips, tricks, layout, small business, extracted them from keywordtool.io, very helpful, found more, added these to my list, 152 of them. People also ask box, lots of recommendations there, found some of these terms, added the ones that I found interesting and useful to my list. I also looked at the other page that ranks high for this phrase. It was a page on Wix, that's the enemy, we're a web design company. DIY is, part of what we're competing with. And plugged that site into a ranking checker to see all the phrases that URL ranks for, and added some of those to my list. Right, so now you can tell I'm like really understanding like what Google believes to be useful on this topic. Here's my list. I once got the question, how do you manage this? You can do this on paper. There's no special trick here. And then as I went and wrote, I rewrote the article. As I incorporated some of these words, crossed them off the list. That's it. The new article is much more deep. It's 27 research-backed web design tips, how to design a website that works. The original was only 845 words. It was kind of a shorty, 6 sections and 5 charts. Still pretty visual. The new article, 4,300 words. Took a lot of effort, right, to list every approach, all the best practices, everything that I knew about web design tips and visual prominence and adding evidence. It's very detailed. It's got 5 different contributor quotes. separated into 4 sections. There's 30 charts and diagrams. So that was very effective for me. I'm going to show you all the results in a minute, but a quick timeout and a nod to our host, because I'm sort of newish to MarketMuse and I'm in love with this tool. It's embedded itself into all of my approaches now. MarketMuse does this all for you all at once. So now all I have to do is put in the target phrase, and I found that phrase from Google Search Console still. I'm using that to still find my low-hanging fruit, my falling stars. And I put in the target key phrase with the URL that I'm going to be optimizing, right? I'm updating older articles, so I'm doing run fetch. I'm putting in the URL and it's going and grabbing it for me. I don't have to copy and paste in a draft article. I'm working on an article that already exists. So what it does is it goes and grabs that, and now after running its, I guess, AI-driven algorithm and comparing my URL to all the other URLs that already rank for this key phrase, it's showing me all the phrases that that would be incorporated in this page if it were written by the ultimate expert on the topic, right? Like this is an article about sitemaps, so a UX expert about sitemaps, information architect, whatever. And it shows me the frequency at which I used those phrases and the suggested frequency based on the other pages that are getting traction from this phrase. So now, as I'm updating this, I do it right here in the editor, and when I type things in, it's gonna sort of change the mix. It's gonna light up the frequency over there and show me how close I'm getting to the ultimate article based on its algorithm, applying a content score to my work compared to the others, counting the words on my work compared to the others, showing me an average, and I'm making decisions about what to include in this. And it's helping me. This is a brilliant tool, by far the best on-page SEO checker, if you call it that, that I've ever discovered. And I've used many of them. I was never satisfied with one, which is why I always did this stuff manually, but now that I've got MarketMuse. So thank you, MarketMuse, for putting together this event and for creating this amazing tool. I'm not an affiliate. They're not paying me anything. There's not a relationship like that. This is a sincere recommendation from an old school SEO because I really like this tool. I wouldn't have recommended it otherwise. And in fact, I started by showing you free ways to do this stuff without a paid tool. Anyway, I learned just very recently that MarketMuse will also do that initial analysis piece. It will show you which of your pages on your site have the best opportunity to get more traction and rank higher from SEO improvements. So that's a feature I'm not yet familiar with, but I'm still learning. Highly recommend that you use this approach to defend your traffic magnets, because there are pages on your site that are getting 10 or 100x the visibility of other pages. Just go to the landing page report, switch to the bar chart view, and use a metric like sessions, and you'll see some of these get so much more traction than others. Or better yet, switch to the comparison view, which compares the traction to these pages to every other page, to the average. And you'll see some pages get like 24, this page is getting 24,000% more visibility than the average page on this website. So a change in traffic to that could hurt the total traffic to this website a lot. Don't wait until your site has a third of your traffic is gone, and then you go wonder, and then you go look. You can defend these traffic magnets prior to any loss by simply using this exact approach. Similarly, if you're tracking your rankings, you can see when the rankings begin to slip. Could be a problem. So that's an example of where you might go update that piece of content. And after you've made these changes, again, straightforward on-page SEO, we're going to measure the impact. Be a measurement marketer. Be a performance-driven marketer by confirming that the actions that you took made a difference. You can report up. You can get smarter. You can see what worked, what didn't. You can keep iterating and improving. So as an example, one of the things that happens immediately, by the way, separate from SEO, engagement. Time on page. Visitors are spending, in this example, 70% more time on the page. Wow, that was successful. Check the rankings. Look at that one. Boom, boom, boom. All of them are now going up, right? Made it a better page. If you're tracking, you can see here I'm using Moz, but you can see the data was improved. Boom. The slide reverses. It starts to go back up. The traffic to that page doubled. This is, in many cases, I once wrote about this and described it as twice the traffic in half the time. Not at all uncommon for me to see double the traffic to a page, search traffic for a URL after it's been updated. So some of these things like, I'm defending pages that rank #1 for a very valuable phrase. Kind of hard to outrank MailChimp for a phrase like email sign-up forms. But it's possible if you keep working on that page again and again, right? If your page doesn't rank yet, maybe it's because you only wrote it once. Maybe, right? Think about that. That might be insufficient. You might need to go back and update it, write it again, based on the phrases that it's already kind of getting traction from, seeing what's working. So not at all uncommon to see something be completely rescued from obscurity. That one had double the traffic. Look at this one, website navigation. Oh no, it's about to fall off page 1. That line is the edge between page 1 and page 2 in Google. Here I am again tracking my rank in Moz, and you can see now it climbs back up into the top 3. The visibility it matters a lot. This is, again, it's the most consistent win, most reliable win of anything that I've ever tried in search. That page is now getting 460% more traffic than it did before. That's the date that I rewrote this article. Kaboom, it was in middle of page 2, top of page 1. This one it wasn't even recording because it was not even in the top 50. So that's that long line. It's a blank. There was no data because Moz doesn't go back farther than 50 positions. SEO basics ranking back at the middle of page 1. I've taught this at many conferences and events, and I frequently get feedback like this. Just thought I'd let you know we're ranking at the top page for both X and Y. It's the bottom of page 1, but we still moved up like 5 to 7 spots. I hear that all the time. How to make a sitemap I wrote for the first time in 2012. Well, people liked it for a while, right? Google liked it, but then it just declined in value. I mean, it was basically like relatively crappy article compared to the new stuff coming out. Sort of ignored it for many years. Finally republished it just recently. Boom, back on page 1. That's it, right? The reason, the formula here, these are pages, these are URLs that have some credibility. They've attracted some links over the years. They've been indexed, right? They're already getting some traction. I'm updating pages that have some inbound links and backlink profiles and page authority. And I'm using analytics and Search Console to tell me what key phrase to target. Search traffic before, search traffic after. You can see the difference. I once made a video about this called How to Rank Higher on Google in 5 Minutes. This person reported that the traffic went up 367% after he used some of these exact approaches. That page is, it's not the highest traffic page on my site by a long shot, but 159 comments, people are really responding well to this tip. So here's that example about the article that I wrote about web design tips, and here's where you can see it ranking #1 in search for web design tips. It used to get a couple of hundred visits a month. Now it gets a couple of thousand visits a month. That's the difference. That spike there, of course, was when we put it back in heavy rotation in social media, sent it out again as a new newsletter. It had been years since we published it the last time, so I don't hesitate at all to put these back into a newsletter. We have a bi-weekly newsletter, so anything big that we write, any new articles are going to be promoted through email. That's that spike in email. And then look at the new baseline, and look how well it holds. This is a page that, and one of the best outcomes of this is that this page ranks and this page has attracted lots of authority itself. 150 websites linked to that URL, increasing the domain authority of my entire website, increasing the ranking potential of every URL on my website. Important to mention here that you ruin everything if you update the URL. The goal here is to recycle an already credible URL by rewriting the article on that page. If you change the URL, then you did not successfully leverage the advantage you had of using a URL that had some links already. With that in mind, what you eventually discover is that it's best to use URLs that are easy to reuse later. I wish someone had told me this 10 years earlier. If you put a number in a URL, you go rewrite that article later, that number is going to be a mismatch. If the new article doesn't have 7, it might have 10, right? Webinar, why would I put a format in a URL? Not really ideal usually. It'd be better to we can maybe reuse that URL later if we didn't put a format in. It's best to keep the URLs just short and simple and English readable, no numbers, no formats. Here's a screenshot of an article that's called Top 100 Must-Read Internet Marketing Blogs. But look at the URL. Top 25 Must-Read Internet Marketing Blogs. The mismatch, right? They updated this article. They're recycling the URL. Great idea. But the mistake was in the early days when they put the number in there. URLs should never have numbers. Why put a number in there? What's the benefit? Why put a date? Why put a number? Why It makes it just less flexible. It kind of ties your hands a bit later. So my pro tip for you and my hope is that this made sense, and this is a bit of a revolutionary idea if you hadn't considered this yet. You probably don't need to have 1,000 articles. Why would you want 1,000 articles? Why is that good? We saw the exponential curve, right? You'd rather have a few things that are high on that curve than a ton of stuff that are very low, right? It's some of your content, everything's a unicorn or a donkey, in Larry Kim's words. So you'd rather go make more baby unicorns. One of these things is worth 100 of the low performing stuff. Similarly, this is like Nick Offerman, what is that? Parks and Rec. Never half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing. You get the idea. We've embraced this to the extent that most of our content is not new. In fact, nearly half of our articles are actually just rewrites of old articles. I wrote 14 new articles last year. I updated 12 old articles last year. That's how much you can see over time how we just gradually have learned and have published more and more. This is the mix of everything I've ever published. It's fun to track these things. That's my lifetime body of work. Lifetime body of work, LBOW. This is my elbow. If you track your elbow too, I suggest. But I track separately things that I've written and things that I've rewritten, and the rewrites are almost half now. So in the end, it's more important, more valuable for you to update and repurpose older, high-performing things than creating new things. Similarly, upgrade the format, right? It's more value in creating a video or presentation than writing an article, probably. But writing articles is definitely better than just responding to emails. Highly recommended, right? Stay out of your inbox. Don't even open your inbox until you've written something. Do something important before you do something urgent. That's my tip for mornings, productive mornings. And then I guess email's still better than scrolling through Facebook and Instagram. Go ahead and delete Facebook from your phone. You'll be a more productive, effective marketer, unless you're one of those people that has to use that for work. The more boring you make your phone, the more productive you make your life. Let's end with one quote from Brian Dean. Big change, right? Think about this. I'll paraphrase. Only if all of my content is up to date and ranking where I think it should be, will I write something new. If not, I'll just go update and relaunch an old post. He has surprisingly few URLs on his website. Bruce Lee said it even better. I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who practiced one kick 10,000 times. Thanks. Hope this was useful. Really fun to teach. I'm glad if this works for you. Anyone out there is welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn and ask me anything. And also, as you may know, we've got a workshop just a bit later today where we're going to do some of this live for some of you. Looking forward to it. Again, Andy from Orbit Media. See you soon.